Jeff, please give a minute of silence for the judges to make decision. Please welcome the third contestant, Melissa Bordow. Don't look for the scars or my not so identical twin. Don't look for the scars or my not so identical twin. Melissa Bordow.
Don't be surprised if one day someone walks through that door who looks exactly like me. I have an identical twin sister, Melanie. One time, when somebody was meeting us for the first time, they actually asked, "Are you clones?" No. Fellow Toastmasters, contest chair. There are many differences between Melanie and me. In appearance, in temperament, in experience. One of the biggest differences is she never tried to poison me. I admit it, I did feed her poison once. But in my defense, I also saved her hide 3 times. The first time I saved her, we were about 6 years old and we were playing at a community center. There was a patio with a big stage on it. We were out there with a bunch of kids and we were running around. And I went tearing behind the stage, and all of a sudden I heard this blood-curdling scream. And one of my friends came running up to me and they said, "Your sister's hurt." I went around to the front of the stage and I see her standing there screaming with her foot in the air, and there is a board stuck to the bottom of her foot, just sticking there. She's screaming, they're screaming. Somehow I managed to get her onto the stage, and I turn around and I grab the board and I brace myself and I pull that board right out of her foot. That was when she got a tetanus shot. The second time I saved her was in our own neighborhood. We had some neighbors who had a feral cat problem. Of course, we didn't see it as a problem. We saw it as a wonderful animal sanctuary, and we were over there constantly trying to pet the cats. They also had an old washing machine that they had stuck over by the side of the yard, and they were taking it apart for scrap metal. Melanie must have seen a cat go into that, because I distinctly remember her hanging over the edge of the washing machine, and then I distinctly remember her feet going in after her, head over heels. I go running over there, and she's upside down, and I pull her out, but I see that she has blood pouring from her eye. I managed to get her home to my mother. That was when she got stitches. The third time I saved her was just a few weeks ago, when we were hiking. We were out by Globe at a mountain called Picket Post, which is very steep. It takes you up about 1,900 feet in less than 3 miles. And on the way down, she slipped. And in her words, her ankle went one way and her foot went another. So there we were, miles from the trailhead, and she's not getting herself out of there. So I jog for about 2 miles until I get to the trailhead, and I find a place where I get cell service, and I call 911, which sends a helicopter, which picks her up and takes her to the parking lot where her husband's waiting for her, and he drives her to the hospital where she had surgery that night. was when she got a titanium plate. Now, I tell myself that those would have been a lot worse if I hadn't been there. That makes me feel a lot better about the time that I poisoned her. We were about 7 years old, and we were walking down an alley when I see these two colored pellets on the ground. They're bright and colorful. I pick them up, and I think they kind of look like M&Ms, but I'm not sure. So I walk over to Melanie and I say, look, I found some M&Ms, and since I'm such a nice person, I'll let you eat the first one. So she pops it in her mouth. No. We knew immediately those were not M&Ms. She starts clawing at her tongue, and when she clutched her throat, I knew I had to get her back home to my mother. That was when she got her stomach pumped.
Oh my gosh.
Remember when I said there are lots of differences between the two of us? I've never had a tetanus shot, I've never had my stomach pumped, and I've never had a titanium plate put in anywhere. But fellow Toastmasters, if she ever does walk through that door, you don't have to look for the scars to know that we're not clones. Take a few minutes to speak to her, get to know her as an individual. That way, you'll know that there are real differences.